In April 2025, a group of powerful CEOs met with President Trump. These weren't tech giants or Wall Street titans. These were the leaders of America's biggest retailers: Walmart, Target, Home Depot, and Lowe's. Their message was stark. America's store shelves could soon be empty. They warned that President Trump's trade policies, specifically tariffs on Chinese goods, were jeopardizing the flow of products to American consumers. These CEOs weren't exaggerating. They were sounding the alarm about a very real threat to the availability of everyday products. The tariffs, designed to protect American jobs and industries, were having unintended consequences. They were making it more expensive and difficult to import goods from China, a major supplier of everything from clothing to electronics. The CEOs stressed the difficulty of finding alternative sources for these goods. China, with its massive manufacturing capacity and low labor costs, has become deeply integrated into the global supply chain. Finding substitutes quickly and affordably is a daunting task. The message was clear. If the tariffs remain in place, American shoppers will face empty shelves, higher prices, and a limited selection of goods. The CEOs urged President Trump to reconsider his trade policies before the situation escalated further. To understand this looming crisis, we need to unravel the complexities of tariffs and their impact on global trade. In essence, tariffs are taxes imposed on imported goods. They're designed to make foreign products more expensive, thereby making domestic goods more competitive. In 2025, the Trump administration significantly increased tariffs on Chinese goods. These tariffs, ranging from 10% to a staggering 145%, were applied to a wide array of products, from electronics and appliances to clothing and toys. The rationale behind these tariffs was to pressure China to change its trade practices, which the administration deemed unfair to American businesses. However, the tariffs have had a ripple effect throughout the global supply chain, disrupting the flow of goods and driving up costs. Many American companies rely on Chinese manufacturers for components or finished products. The tariffs have made these imports significantly more expensive, squeezing profit margins and forcing companies to pass on the costs to consumers in the form of higher prices. The impact of these tariffs is not theoretical. It's reflected in hard data that paints a troubling picture of declining imports. Since the tariffs took effect, imports from China have plummeted. Ocean container bookings, a key indicator of trade volume, have fallen by over 60%. The Port of Los Angeles, the busiest container port in the United States, offers a stark illustration of this decline. Scheduled import volumes have dropped precipitously, with year-over-year decreases exceeding 35%. These figures underscore the magnitude of the disruption caused by the tariffs. This decline in imports has serious implications for American businesses and consumers. Retailers are finding it increasingly difficult to stock their shelves with the products consumers demand. The scarcity of goods is already leading to higher prices, and the situation is expected to worsen if the trade dispute continues. The trade war's impact extends beyond just the goods themselves. It's causing a major disruption in the shipping industry, the very lifeblood of global trade. With import demands plummeting, shipping companies are facing a crisis of their own. The once bustling shipping lanes between China and the United States are experiencing a dramatic slowdown. One of the most telling signs of this slowdown is the rise of blank sailings. These occur when shipping companies cancel scheduled voyages due to insufficient cargo. Major shipping alliances have reported cancellation rates between 10% and just over 24% on Pacific routes. In a startling revelation, CNBC reported a staggering 80 canceled sailings out of China due to the dwindling demand. This reduction in shipping capacity further exacerbates the supply chain disruptions. With fewer ships available to transport goods, the backlog of products waiting to reach American shores continues to grow. This bottleneck effect is contributing to delays, shortages, and increased costs for businesses and consumers alike. The impact of the trade war is not only felt at sea and in ports, but it's also rippling across America's highways. The trucking industry, responsible for transporting goods from ports to warehouses and ultimately to stores, is experiencing a sharp decline in freight volume. This slowdown is directly linked to the reduced imports and the overall economic uncertainty caused by the trade war. The American Trucking Association has described the situation as, well, cataclysmic, reporting a loss of over 700,000 truckloads nationally in a single week. This dramatic drop in freight volume has left many trucking companies with idle trucks and drivers. It also signifies a weakening economy, as the movement of goods is a vital indicator of economic activity. This trucking slowdown has far-reaching consequences. It further disrupts the already strained supply chain, making it even more difficult to get products to consumers. Empty trucks on the road translate to empty shelves in stores. This scarcity of goods is fueling anxieties about rising prices and potential shortages in the near future. The trade war's impact is felt acutely by businesses of all sizes, but small businesses are particularly vulnerable. Unlike large corporations with vast resources and diversified supply chains, small businesses often operate on thin margins and rely heavily on a limited number of suppliers. The National Retail Federation warns that small and medium-sized businesses will bear the brunt of rising tariffs. These businesses often lack the leverage to negotiate lower prices from suppliers or to absorb the increased costs. This puts them at a significant disadvantage, forcing many to choose between raising prices and risking losing customers, or absorbing the costs and jeopardizing their already tight margins. The potential consequences for small businesses are, honestly, pretty dire. Many are facing the difficult decision of whether to raise prices, potentially alienating customers, or absorb the increased costs, putting their own financial stability at risk. The trade war threatens the livelihoods of countless small business owners and their employees, highlighting the broader economic risks of protectionist trade policies. Following the CEO's meeting, there were glimmers of hope that a resolution to the trade war might be on the horizon. President Trump's tone seemed to soften, and he hinted at the possibility of tariff reductions and a fair deal with China. However, the White House later clarified that the tariffs would remain in effect until a deal was reached, and the timeline for such an agreement remained uncertain. This uncertainty has kept businesses and markets on edge as the prospect of a protracted trade war continues to loom. The trade war represents a high-stakes game of economic chicken between the world's two largest economies. Both sides have a lot to lose from a prolonged conflict, but neither seems willing to back down from their demands. The uncertainty surrounding the trade negotiations is adding to the volatility in global markets and fueling anxieties about a potential global economic slowdown. While the trade war's impact on the economy is complex and multifaceted, one thing is clear: American consumers will likely bear the brunt of the costs. The combination of tariffs, shipping disruptions, and reduced supply has created a perfect storm for price increases. Analysts predict that prices for a wide range of consumer goods, from electronics and appliances to clothing and toys, will continue to rise if the trade war persists. These price hikes will hit consumers' wallets, reducing their purchasing power and potentially slowing economic growth. The trade war is also limiting choices for American consumers. With fewer goods being imported from China, retailers are struggling to maintain their usual inventory levels. This is leading to shortages of certain products, forcing consumers to pay more for limited options or, honestly, just go without. The possibility of empty store shelves is a stark reminder of the interconnectedness of the global economy. The trade war with China is not just a distant political dispute. It has the potential to impact the daily lives of Americans in a very real way. While the future of the trade war remains uncertain, it's prudent for consumers to be prepared for potential disruptions. This includes being mindful of potential price increases and considering purchasing essential items sooner rather than later. It's also a good time to explore alternative products or brands that may be less affected by the tariffs. This situation is fluid and evolving rapidly. We want to hear from you. Are you seeing empty shelves in your local stores? Have you noticed price increases on certain products? Share your experiences and observations with us.